Hi, this is your host Swapnil Bhartiya and welcome to a brand new episode of TFiR Let's Talk. And we are here at BMC Exchange in Miami. And today we have with us once again in person Margaret Lee, GM and SVP of Digital Services and Operations Management at BMC Software. Margaret, it's great to see you in person.
Absolutely. After a few interviews, and thank you for coming to Miami, joining BMC's Exchange event.
It has been my pleasure and honor. Since I think this is the first time the event is kind of coming back after COVID. So first of all, talk a bit about what you have seen, because you have talked to a lot of analysts, customers. So talk a bit about your experience.
Yeah, today is the first day. I've already been on quite a few customer meetings and really appreciate customers, industry analysts and press analysts being here in Miami. Many of the folks I've spoken to via Zoom and finally to meet in person. There's just a lot of energy, pent-up energy, to talk about BMC's products and offerings. So very happy to be here.
And that's a perfect segue to my next question, which is what announcement did you folks made here?
So BMC has been very busy in the last 2 years, transforming the company, transforming our portfolio, and looking at accelerated product capability enhancements. So one of the things that we are announcing today is a significant product innovation around BMC Helix ServiceOps. So what that means is a combination of service management and operations management. So that's from IT service desk all the way through to end operations monitoring, alerts, and automation to help customers really manage the expansion of risks associated with DevOps practices, right? So that customers can preemptively looking at end user experience and the potential, let's say, service tickets coming in, addressing that preemptively, looking at the back end infrastructure operations, so that improves the end user's experience. A lot of issues, a lot of tickets could be prevented by knowing the whole system end to end and by being able to address things quickly.
And since you did talk about DevOps, and if you look at BMC's, transformation, evolution that we talked about, in previous discussions, which is also aligns with the changes in the industry. We are moving, all the way from, traditional IT to the modern DevOps, where roles are changing. Now we have started talking about platform, engineers versus, SREs and DevOps. Yes. So talk a bit also about, you did touch upon that, this journey and how you are also kind of, because when we look at BMC's portfolio, you talked about, it's massive through acquisitions. You folks have a lot, but sometimes it also seems like they are not connected very well. So when we do look at this change in evolution, we're trying to serve the guys who are also we're the head of a developer and also the operations. So talk a bit about it.
You're right that BMC historically has had a very rich portfolio. What we've done in the last year and a half, almost 2 years, is recognizing that a platform approach is what's needed. So you're going to hear a lot about the Helix platform. So what does that mean? So that means on the data layer, whether it's data associated with tickets, change requests, problems, all the way to data associated with operations, things like data from APM systems, logs, and metrics events, really on the same platform, visible across service and operations, right? The second is the platform for customers to be able to extend their IT service management. So IT service management really is an application, right? I call it sort of the ERP type application for IT. Requests coming, workflow, approvals, etc. But many customers want to be able to extend that. They want to build a application specific to their organization, maybe if the function of HR, function of customer support, function of legal, security, etc. So the ability on a platform to extend, to build our workflows, and a lot of it's pre-built by BMC as well, out of the box. So that's a platform approach, is how we can support customers in that rapid sort of, let's build things quickly, put it into production, monitor, and then iterate. So that's a key initiative in the last more than 18 months within BMC, invest in the Helix platform.
I don't want to go too much into tech details, but some of the enhancement, improvements, the changes that were made to the platform.
So multiple layers. The first, obviously, is, like I said, build out the platform itself. Second, we have introduced a lot of AI capabilities right? So AI capability both for service and operations management. So we have launched capability such as proactive problem management, incident clustering, just to make the service desk teams a little bit easier to handle the large volume of tickets coming in. Second, we've built our AI into operations management. We're firmly investing to AI ops, so that helps operations NOC teams, SOC teams, as they get events and alerts coming in, to be able to reduce noise, to pinpoint the issues, right? And then also to look at historical patterns to be more proactive. So the end-to-end AI for operations management and service management together is something that we've really invested in to help the DevOps transformation with our customers.
One more thing I want to talk to you about, since we are talking about DevOps, and it's not possible to not talk about cloud native, right? Yes. So once again, when we look at cloud native, first of all, it gets complicated. Sometimes it looks like mainframe is easier than cloud native, right? It can also be cheaper when you look at all the bills that pile up, when you go there. So how does this fit into the whole cloud native story as well? Because the fact is, it's not mainframe versus cloud or cloud native. It's mainframe, as when we talk about multi-cloud, hybrid cloud, mainframe is also part there, it's not separate. So I want to talk more about that as well. Plus, if you look at a lot of pain point that customers face when we move to the cloud, so how do you look at that problem, and how do you also look at this whole evolution of cloud and mainframe?
BMC has a unique perspective to that particular question about complexity, because of our history of we've been in IT infrastructure software business for 40 years. And within ourselves, for example, a big chunks of the Helix platform is built cloud native container microservices. We built a whole pieces of the Helix service and operations management. So we know the complexities and also the benefits in terms of building cloud native, right? In terms of BMC being customer zero. But take a step back. We are the team, the portfolio that's used by, as you see around the conference here, 86% of the Fortune 500, right? So when we talk about these companies that are large, that are global, that has multi-generations of technology in production at the same time, many of them were built and delivered, continue to be supported by BMC. On an everyday basis, I talk to clients who have mainframe, who have Oracle database with WebLogic, and there's a multi-tier that I was actually involved in some of the development, 15, 20 years ago. Simultaneously, these large companies are going to the cloud. They are using AWS, GCP, Oracle, and Azure. They are building containers. And all of these applications are coexistent, oftentimes even as part of a single business transaction. It's very easily to imagine a mobile app contenting a cloud-native application that does some sort of transaction, ultimately go to database or ultimately to mainframe for data. And on the way back, the piece of information is supplied to the end user on a mobile phone. So that transaction can go through many technologies. And BMC is really uniquely positioned because we've been involved in every single generation. We used all of them ourselves. And we understand the value to be able to trace end-to-end for performance, for availability, for visibility. And having worked with so many Fortune 500 companies, we understand that the topology and environment is unique. On some level, it's a much more interesting of a technical challenge than, frankly, working only with, 5-year-old or younger cloud, unicorns. Those architecture are fairly straightforward and simple. And the business problems oftentimes are pretty straightforward and simple compared to some of the really complex environments that BMC operate in.
I also want to talk about some emerging new use cases. IoT is becoming very popular. Edge computing is also becoming, with the 5G private network, a lot of things are happening. So talk a bit about, once again, the Helix's role in that market as well.
Telecommunication is a key segment, key vertical for BMC. And not surprisingly, many of our Helix customers are in telecom. So with 5G, there's two dimensions. With 5G, the expanded network bandwidth, right, to be able to handle all the traffic, plus the increasing number of devices that are smarter, right? Devices have local compute to be able to do some decision making, send data back, and also bidirectional, right? In the past, the devices primarily is one way, reporting back. Now devices are smart enough to take instructions, do some local compute, and send back. So the way we think about it is just 10x, 100x of endpoints that are smarter. They're going to ride on top of this 5G network, right? From a BMC perspective, on the back end, a lot of things are actually the same. It's still in terms of algorithms, data collection, finding patterns, detecting anomalies, and be able to send instructions back. So we absolutely, BMC sees the edge computing as a tremendous growth opportunity. We're uniquely prepared for this because of the back end, our history in monitoring operations and all of that, and also our long working with the telecom industries. We have a number of projects going on with some of the largest telcos in the world, trying to look ahead, take advantage of 5G, and take advantage of the growing number of smart devices being deployed around the world.
Yeah, and when we look at the sessions that are going on there, the customers, of course, companies who have been around for 100, 200 years, and then startups which are like evolving new. So if I, ask you to summarize, if you look at this modern era, how would you kind of define Helix platform, which is suitable for, once again, those companies and the new startups as well?
Yeah, it's hard to fit Helix platform into one sentence, right? It's the platform that can span a lot of use cases, from the cloud native startup companies who's looking for end-to-end service and operations management, absolutely, but also can support some of the longest serving customers we have in the most complex environment. And really is around understanding and spot risks around change and proactively manage them. And that's the piece that some of our largest customers are looking for.
Margaret, thank you once again taking time out today and talk to me. As I said, it's a pleasure to see you in person, but we'll resume this discussion, maybe some virtual, some real, but I really appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Absolutely, yeah, and I know you're getting a lot of followers and readers, so thank you for the opportunity.